I really didn't know what to do for a few months. I felt that I had let the previous generation of entrepreneurs down, that I had dropped the baton as it was being passed to me.
Baton, in this sense, refers to responsibility. A baton gets passed from one runner to the other in a road race. So if one of the runners drops the baton, it means that they made a mistake, a big mistake, very likely to cause them to lose the race. So it's not a good idea to drop the baton. It means that you screwed up your responsibility at the same time that the responsibility was being handed to you.
So to drop the baton means to fail, to let down, to make a mistake.
That's correct, and it also means to make a mistake at the very start, to demonstrate incompetence, because at the very moment you should be showing competence, you're showing incompetence instead.
But how is it at the very start? If there's a relay, there is like 4 members of the team, anyone can drop the baton. That's why he speaks about generations.
Well,
it was passed to him.
It's when they pass you the baton, that's the most difficult time. That's when you're going to drop the baton. Once you're holding on to the baton, you're not going to drop it. You're going to drop it when somebody's handing it to you.
Right.
In Kennedy's inaugural speech, he made a very strong point about how the baton was being passed to a new generation of people who were born in the 20th century instead of the 19th century. Every president before Kennedy was born in the 19th century. Kennedy was the first president born in the 20th century. Similarly, Bill Clinton may have made a point about being the first president who was born after the end of World War II. When Steve Jobs died, there has been some question as to whether the new chairman has been able to successfully pick up the baton.
So there's another expression, to drop the ball, and it has very similar meaning, right? To drop the baton.
Drop the ball is very similar to drop the baton. It means to make a mistake when you're in a responsible position. But generally, I think drop the baton would be a higher level than drop the ball. A lower level employee could also drop the ball too.
And also, when we talk about passing the baton from one generation to another, or from one maybe CEO to another, you can also use torch, right? To pass the torch?
That's correct, yes. And that's related to the Olympics, where they run a torch from all around the world, really. And they pass the torch from one person to the next.
So there are many expressions, many cliches that come from sport.
That's correct.
It means to try and tell your kids everything you thought you'd have the next 10 years to tell them in just a few months. It means to make sure everything is buttoned up so that it will be as easy as possible for your family.
Buttoned up in this sense means to make sure that everything is completed. For example, if you put on a shirt, you want to button up all the buttons. If you leave one of the buttons loose, it means that there's something that you didn't do correctly. Or similarly, you could have some object of some type which is wrapped in a canvas, and it's held together with buttons, and to hold it together properly you need to button up all the buttons.
In this case, the button up, everything is buttoned up. It means everything is finished, everything is wrapped up.
That's correct. There's still a few things I have to do to button up this project correctly. One is I have to document everything. The other is I have to make sure I made no mistakes. When I heard about the snowstorm this evening, I decided to button up for the day and get home early. We also have buttoned up, which means you're being contained somewhere. I'm buttoned up in New York because of the snowstorm. That's not completed. It's a different definition, but that's not a bad one. You could use buttoned up instead of holed up.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Or you can also button up somebody, which means basically that you hold them in position. I need to button up my boss and ask him for the raise. I can't seem to get him. I can't catch him in his office because he knows what I want. ESL-fullsteamahead.com